Hello student, welcome to the next lecture of human respiration. Today we are going to discuss about pulmonary volume and capacities. Then we will discuss about mechanism of respiration, that is regulation of the respiration. Then we are going to discuss about pulmonary disorders. So first we'll start with the pulmonary volume and capacities. Now that volume of the air within a lungs can be measured, or the lung volume and the capacities can be measured by an instrument called as spirometer. Okay, so in the diagram you can make out that is there is an instrument called as spirometer. Now in that case the patient takes a deep breath and blows as hard as possible into the tube. You can make out into the tube, and there is a clip on the nose. Okay, so that is in breathing and out breathing is through the mouth only. Okay, now that machine is going to record and the result of the spirometry test, and that technician is going to monitor and encourage the patient during the test. Okay, now what are the different respiratory volume and the capacities we will discuss over here. This is the graphical representation of respiratory volume and the capacities, and this is a spirographic record for the male. Okay, so first we'll discuss about the first part, that is called as inspiratory reserve volume. Okay, now what do you mean by inspiratory reserve volume? It is a maximum volume of air or extra volume of the air that is inspired during the forced breathing. That means whenever you are going to perform forceful inspiration, it is called as inspiratory reserve volume, and it is approximately, that is 2000 to 3000 ml. Now here in that case, this is for the male, it is approximately 3100 ml. Okay, so what is inspiratory reserve volume? It is that is amount of air that is during the forceful inspiration. Okay, it is the amount of air that is inspired during forced breathing or during forceful inspiration, and the volume is approximately or in the range of 2000 to 3000 ml. Okay, now coming to the next, called as tidal volume. The tidal volume, it is the volume of the air that is inspired or expired during the normal breathing. So that represent the amount of air that is during normal breathing, which is approximately 500 ml. That is called as tidal volume. Now what is expiratory reserve volume? It is the amount of air which is expired during the forceful expiration. So that is called as expiratory reserve volume, which is around 1200 ml. Okay, now what is expiratory reserve volume? The maximum volume of the air that is expired during the forced breathing after the normal expiration. It is approximately 1000 to 1100 ml. In that case it is 1200 ml. So that is expiratory reserve volume. And the last is called as residual volume. What is residual volume? It is a volume of air that will remain in the lungs and the dead space even after maximum expiration. That means suppose if you perform the maximum expiration, whatever amount of that is left within your lungs is called as residual volume. Now there is one more concept called as dead space. It is the volume of air that is present in the respiratory tract from the nose to the terminal bronchiole, but not involved in gaseous exchange. Okay, it is just an volume of the air that is present in your respiratory tract, which is around 150 ml. So in the respiratory volume we have discussed 5 terminology. The first is called as inspiratory reserve volume, that is amount of air that is during forceful inspiration. Then we have discussed tidal volume, that is the amount of air that is during the normal breathing. Then we have discussed expiratory reserve volume, that is amount of air that is released during forceful expiration. And residual volume, that is volume of the air that is remain in the lungs, okay, even after maximum expiration. So that is called as residual volume. And one more, that is called as dead space. So what is dead space? It is a volume of air that is present in the respiratory tract but not involved in gaseous exchange, which is around 150 ml. Okay, so this is all about what? Respiratory volume. Now we'll discuss about lung capacities. Okay, so the first there is what? Inspiratory capacity. What is inspiratory capacity? It is the addition of inspiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume. Okay, whenever there is addition of inspiratory reserve volume, tidal volume and expiratory reserve volume, it is called as vital capacity. Okay, whereas expiratory reserve volume and residual volume, it is called as functional residual capacity, and addition of all the four is known as total lung capacity. Okay, so the first, total lung capacity, it is a maximum amount of air that lungs hold after the maximum forceful inspiration. Okay, vital capacity, what is vital capacity? The maximum amount of air that can be breathed out after the maximum inspiration, and it is the sum total of TV, that is tidal volume, IRV, inspiratory reserve volume, and ERE, that is what? Expiratory reserve volume. For the definition of volume and respiratory capacity, you can refer this table. This is very important for the NEET. So you can refer this table, that is for definition of the respiratory volume as well as respiratory capacity. So these formulas are very important for the NEET. Now we will discuss about regulation of breathing. Now that breathing is controlled by, that is there are two control. It is controlled by your nervous system, or there can be a chemical control, that is because of change in concentration of gases or certain substances can also responsible for regulation of breathing. So it is under two control. It is called as dual control, that is nervous control as well as a chemical control. Normal adult human can breathe around 12 times per minute, whereas newborn can breathe around 44 times per minute. Okay, so steady state is controlled by the neurons, and these neurons are located in the pons varoli and medulla oblongata. Pons varoli and medulla oblongata is a part of the hindbrain. Okay, so here they are known as respiratory center. So there are two respiratory center. One is called as pneumotaxic center, which is located in the pons varoli, and another center, that is a respiratory center, which is located within a medulla. Okay, so these are two main important center that is going to regulate the rate and the depth of the respiration. Okay, now there are three groups of neuron. So first group of neuron, that is located on the dorsal side, it is going to function in, that is as inspiratory center. Second group of neuron called as, which is located ventrolaterally. Okay, so ventrolateral group of neuron, it function as inspiratory and expiratory center, and both the group dorsal and ventrolateral, that is located in the medulla. So the third, that is group of neuron called as pneumotaxic center, which is located in the pons varoli. Now it is going to control your inspiration. It is going to induce the slow wave sleep and rapid eye movement. Now whereas there is one more center called as anematic center. It is exactly opposite of pneumotaxic center. Antagonistic meaning is pneumotaxic center. It is going to control non-rapid eye movement and wakefulness. Okay, so these are major control for your respiration, that is the nervous control. Okay, now as far as the NCERT concern, right, now we are going to discuss about one more part called as the Hering-Breuer reflex. Now what do you mean by Hering-Breuer reflex? Here, during the inspiration, that is whenever you breathe in, your lungs are going to expand. Okay, because of the expansion, the stretch receptor are stimulated. This stimulation result in the formation of impulse, and that impulse is sent along with the vagus nerve to the expiratory center. Okay, and because of that, inspiratory center is going to relax. Okay, again I am going to repeat it. During the inspiration, your lungs are going to expand, the stretch receptor are stimulated. Because of that, the impulse or the message sent along with the vagus nerve to the expiratory center. When the message goes to the expiratory center, inspiratory center is going to relax. So after that, it is going to follows the expiration. Okay, in the expiration, the air leaves the lungs. stretch receptor are no longer stimulated, inspiratory center is no longer inhibited, and again new respiration begin. That means inspiration is followed by the expiration, and expiration is again followed by inspiration with the help of a nervous control, and that is called as Hering-Breuer reflex. It is called as Hering-Breuer reflex. Now what is the significance of this respiration? It is going to control the depth and the rhythm of the respiration. It is going to prevent the lungs from inflammation to the point of bursting. Otherwise, lungs may get burst. So that is prevented because of these reflexes. This is from the NEET point of view, where you can see there are specialized center in the medulla called as rhythm center, which is responsible for the regulation. There is another center in the pons that is called as pneumotaxis center. So there are two main center. In the medulla there is rhythm center, which may include inspiration and expiration center. Another center in the pons that is called as pneumotaxis center. It is going to moderate the function of the rhythm center. That means pneumotaxic center is going to regulate the rhythm center. Okay. So first, neural signal from the pneumotaxic center reduces the duration of inspiration and alter the respiration rate. There is one more area called as chemosensitive area, which is located next to the rhythm center, okay, which is highly sensitive in carbon dioxide and H plus ion. So whenever there is increase in carbon dioxide and H plus ion, it is going to activate the chemosensitive area, which is going to send a signal to the rhythm center, and then the rhythm center will make the necessary changes. I hope you can remember the rhythm center is located in the medulla. So receptor associated with the aortic arch and carotid artery. Now aortic arches are going to arise from the systemic aorta, and carotid arteries are located in the neck region. So these are the larger arteries, and they have the specialized receptor which can recognize the change in carbon dioxide and H plus ion concentration, and it is going to send a signal to the rhythm center, which is primarily responsible for the regulation. So this is all about what? Regulation of breathing. You will come across one more small topic over here, that is modified respiratory movement. Some respiratory movement are different from the normal movement, and that help the express the emotion or clear the air passage. Okay, of these movement, some may be reflexes, but other can be initiated voluntarily. For example, coughing and yawning. So here you can see the yawning, okay, that is responsible for increase in the thoracic cavities or increase in the volume of the thoracic cavity. So there can be maximum supply of the oxygen. So decrease in the oxygen content can initiate the yawning. That is one of the scientific reason behind it. Another is coughing. Coughing is it can be triggered by the smoke, perfume, throat irritation, noxious fumes, speech, exercise, cold or dry air, eating, humidity. All these can be factors which can be responsible for the cough. Now how it takes place? First, there are receptor in the nasal mucosa. So these receptor are they are going to receive these triggering signals. So the efferent nerve is going to carry that message to the your brain. Okay, now the brain is going to analyze the message. It is going to send another message via another neuron that is called as what you can say, motor neuron. Because there is that message will come from the cuff center, which is located in the medulla. So the efferent nerve, that is efferent nerve, efferent matlab one which is coming out. So vagus, phrenic and spinal motor nerves, they will bring about what? Action of muscle, and because of these, pharyngeal and the respiratory muscles are going to move, that result in the formation of coughing. Now this is additional information, it is not there in your textbook. Now we are going to discuss about common disorder of the respiratory system, that is 8.6. Now here we will come across various disorder that is concerned with the lungs. So the first disorder is called as emphysema. Okay. Now in case of the emphysema, here you can see there is breakdown of the alveoli, okay, because of the smoking. Now here you can see in the emphysema, the harmful particles are going to trap in the alveoli. the inflammatory response are triggered. Because of that, there is inflammatory chemical dissolve the alveoli septum or alveolar wall, and the large air cavity are lined with the carbon deposit form. So what are the causes? Smoking, air and pollution, that is one of the cause of the emphysema. What are the symptoms? Breakdown of the alveoli, shortness of the breath. Okay, there is a problem with the breathing. Treatment is you have to quit the smoking, avoid the polluted air. Okay, you can use a mask which prevent the entry of such dust particle. Administer oxygen to relieve the symptoms. So these are the treatment for emphysema. There are two more diseases called as chronic bronchitis and acute bronchitis. The meaning is itis is swelling and bronchus is a branching of the trachea. Trachea ultimately give rise to the bronchus, primary, secondary and tertiary. So here again, smoking, air pollution is a common causes for chronic bronchitis. Chronic is long terms. Okay, because of the smoking, because of long term smoking, you can able to see the symptoms. Okay, but when it takes place within a short period, it is called as acute bronchitis. So in case of the chronic bronchitis, it is caused or it is due to the long term effect or long term impact, we can say. So symptom is coughing, shortness of the breath. The treatment is you have to quit the smoking, avoid the polluted air, if possible move to the warmer and drier climate. Okay, where you can just reduce this bronchitis. In case of the acute bronchitis, the causes are mostly viruses and bacteria. Again here there is inflammation of bronchi, shortness of the breath, yellow mucus cough, that is a symptoms. So if it is bacterial, then you have to take the antibiotics. Okay, you can take some medicines. You can use the vaporizer, that is the for acute bronchitis. The next is called as sinusitis. The name itself suggests that sinus is a cavities within your bones. So here these cavities sometimes get filled up with the mucus. So because of that there will be swelling. So inflammation of the sinuses or and the mucus discharge, these are the common symptoms. You can see there are healthy sinuses, again the sinusitis in the image. So it can be caused by the virus and bacteria. So again, if it is infection, then you have to take the antibiotics. Then you can take some antibiotics or some medicine which can prevent the secretion of mucus. You can take the vaporizers. So these are common treatment for sinusitis. Next is called as laryngitis. Again, itis is swelling. So there is swelling on your larynx, vocal cords. It is another symptom of the laryngitis is sore throat, then hoarseness in the voice, mucus will build up and continuously secretion of the cough. These are the common symptoms. Again, causes are bacteria and viruses. The treatment will remain same if it is viral or bacterial infection. The next disease is pneumonia. It is again inflammation of the lungs, ranging from the mild to the severe. It is caused by the viruses or bacteria. Currently we are facing the situation of COVID-19, which is a virus which caused the pneumonia. Now here what happens, you can see that there is accumulation of mucus in the alveoli. Because of that, person is going to or that person is not going to perform the normal breathing. That person is going to experience shortness of the breath. So here you can see the cough and fever are the common symptoms. Shortness of the breath are the common symptoms. Then there can be chills, sweating, chest pain, blood in the mucus. So these are common symptoms of the pneumonia. Again, since it is caused by the bacteria or viruses, you have to take the antibiotics. You have to consult a physician immediately so that doctor can provide you ventilator so that the shortness of the breath can be prevented. The lungs collapse can be prevented. So this is a pneumonia. The next is asthma. Asthma is actually the allergic disorder. It is caused due to the allergy to the pollen grain or some food or food additive, pet hair or even paints. Okay, so here you can see normal air passage in the first diagram. In the second diagram, whenever the asthmatic shock is triggered, there will be constriction of the bronchiole, mucus will build up in the bronchiole, that will make difficulty in the breathing, and because of the suffocation that patient will die. So that patient has to take immediately, that is a medicine which can prevent the inflammation. So use have there are sprays available which that patient can take, which can that clear up the passageway immediately. So asthmatic attack can be prevented if you take the medical care immediately, or if you receive the medical care immediately. Now you will come across two occupational lung disorder. One is called as silicosis, another is called as asbestosis. So suppose if the patient is going to expose to the dust particle of the silica and asbestos for the longer duration, these particles get accumulated in the alveoli, and because of that there will be inflammation, there will be lung damage, there will be fibrosis. Initial symptoms can be shortness of the breath. Okay, sometimes that can result into the cancerous growth called as mesothelioma in case of asbestosis. So protective masks and the gear are very important for the worker which are continuously exposed to the dust particle of the silica and asbestos. So symptoms are inflammation, fibrosis and lung damage. So these are common disorder. So remaining part of the respiration, that is artificial ventilation are there. Okay, that will discuss in the next lecture. So only two part is remaining, that is artificial ventilation, then transportation in the living organism, and overview of the respiratory part, that will discuss in the next lecture.